Chapter 13. Darth Vader's earliest missions involved tracking down the Jedi who had survived the Purge. He investigated every reported sighting, traveled to many remote worlds to hunt his quarry, and killed every Jedi he found. No reports led to Obi-Wan or Yoda, but Vader remained ever vigilant. With every passing day, Vader distanced himself from the Jedi he had been. Where Anakin Skywalker had been influenced by traumatic circumstances, Vader shaped himself by inflicting pain on others. Unfortunately, because of his artificial arms, he was unable to conjure Sith lightning or be invulnerable to it. He would always be weaker than the Emperor. Few people were aware of what had become of Anakin Skywalker, but it was not long before nearly everyone in the Galactic Empire had heard some rumor or stray fact about Palpatine's new servant. 1 month after Palpatine became Emperor, a story circulated that Vader had tracked down a nest of 50 Jedi traitors and killed every one of them by himself. Eyewitnesses described him as a wraith-like being who seemed to possess Jedi powers and wielded a lightsaber, but he was definitely not a Jedi. After all, the Jedi may have attempted to overthrow the Republic, but they had never been known to strangle their opponents. Some suspected Darth Vader was a droid engineered to carry out the Emperor's will. Others suggested that he might have once been a professional gladiator or a bounty hunter. There was even speculation that he might be a well-known public figure who had assumed the name Darth Vader and wore his face-concealing helmet to hide his true identity. Vader himself did nothing to reveal his personal history. As far as he was concerned, the only thing people had to know about him was that he answered only to the Emperor. As the Emperor's lieutenant, Vader carried out his master's directives with lethal precision. Besides hunting Jedi, he supervised the expansion of the Imperial Navy and enforced every new law, many of which promoted the hatred of non-humans to bring greater power to the Empire. Those who opposed or disappointed Vader wound up dead or enslaved, and even Palpatine's most ardent supporters regarded the masked, shadowy cyborg with dread. In a short time, his very name became synonymous with terror. The Emperor reorganized the Galactic Senate and the Imperial Senate so he could continue to monitor and manipulate the representatives of the worlds he now controlled. Vader accompanied the Emperor to the more important Senate functions, which were often attended by Senator Bail Organa of Alderaan, among others. During the Clone Wars, Anakin Skywalker had, for a time, shared Senator Amidala's regard for Organa as a rare, honorable politician, but to Darth Vader, the man was as insignificant as a common insect. Like most people, Organa directed his gaze elsewhere when Vader was present. After allocating the more mundane responsibilities of government to paranoid administrators, the Emperor made fewer public appearances, which allowed him to devote more of his time to study the dark side of the Force in his palace on Coruscant. In time, Vader's looming form became the ultimate icon of Imperial authority. But the Emperor never let Vader forget who was in charge. Over time, they had many variations of the same conversation, which usually began with the Emperor's taunting question. "Are you afraid of death, Lord Vader?" "No, Master." Then why do you go on living? "To learn to become more powerful, Master." "Do you seek such power so you might try to strike me down?" "You are my path to power, Master. I need you." "Yes, my apprentice. Remember your place and that you have much to learn." Vader eventually created his own private retreat, Bass Castle, on the storm-scoured planet Vijun, where Count Dooku had once taken refuge during the Clone Wars. On Vijun, Vader conducted his own studies of the dark side. He had no doubt that the Emperor knew what he wanted more than anything, the power to kill his master. But because Palpatine was so incredibly powerful, and despite several attempts, Vader learned that he had no reason to believe he could ever defeat the Elder Sith Lord. As the years passed, the Empire expanded by conquering more worlds. While clone soldiers were still utilized for the Imperial Navy, humans also began serving as enlisted officers or were conscripted into duty as technicians, pilots, and stormtroopers. Although Anakin Skywalker had never had any personal exchanges with a bounty hunter Jango Fett, Darth Vader did become familiar with Fett's clone's son, Boba Fett, who had inherited his father's armor, weapons, and starship. As Boba Fett gained a well-deserved reputation as the best bounty hunter in the galaxy, it was inevitable that Vader would occasionally retain him for clandestine assignments. Vader also supervised secret operations on numerous worlds to enlist deadly Nagri warriors to his cause. He came to the aid of their planet after he had covertly poisoned it with life-inhibiting toxins. When an Imperial research station accidentally released a lethal bioagent on the planet Faline, Vader commanded his soldiers to fire turbo lasers at the contaminated world, killing over 200,000 Faline natives. Of all the operations that Darth Vader oversaw, the most important was the construction of the Death Star, a moon-sized battle station that, when finished, would be equipped with a super laser capable of destroying entire planets. Conceived by one of the Empire's highest-ranking officers, Grand Moff Wilhelm Tarkin, and originally designed on Geonosis, the Death Star promised to be the Empire's ultimate weapon. As part of Tarkin's doctrine of rule by fear, the battle station would strike such terror throughout the galaxy that no world would dare defy or disobey an Imperial command. As Palpatine had foreseen, the Empire did have its enemies. One particular underground movement, the Alliance to Restore the Republic, more commonly known as the Rebel Alliance, proved to be the most irritating. Although Imperial officers were certain that the rebels had established a secret base, the base's location remained unknown. "19 years after the end of the Clone Wars and the birth of the Empire, the Rebel Alliance attacked an Imperial convoy in the Tabrawa system in the Outer Rim. Darth Vader immediately realized that it had been a diversionary tactic and that the rebels' real goal was to infiltrate an Imperial research station on Tabrawa. The rebels had stolen the plans for the Death Star.